What is happening? So, what are we doing for rehab? Some of the things that have been working for me, I've talked about a lot, is blood flow restriction. So I wanted to do a little bit of video on what I'm doing with that, how it works, and why it does what it does. I don't know, is it fucking science? Is it magic? Let's find out. So blood flow restriction is simply this. You're basically going to tourniquet off a limb. You're going to fatigue that muscle by using some like short interval type stuff. What I found to be prescribed exercise from the doctors with the B Strong bands that I use for it is to do about 30 reps and then a 30-second rest and then repeat for like 3 or 4 sets. By that point, you really do feel like that muscle unit or the arm is going to explode. And what you're going to get out of this is this systemic response from your body. That's a big word. I barely know what it means. But essentially, your body's going to treat it as though there's some type of an injury there, and so it's going to flush and send nutrients and more blood in the muscles gets rid of some old gunky blood and allows some other cool things to happen. So for me, what I'm trying to accomplish is minimize the amount of muscle loss I'm having, to minimize the atrophy. I'm still going to have atrophy, and you're going to post a major surgery. It just happens. You limp, you walk different, you avoid muscle groups, there's nerve blocks, there's all types of things, but that muscle is going to take a hit. It's going to take some damage. What I'm finding is I'm able to get my quad or muscles to turn back on sooner post-surgery. I'm able to actually get some work done that doesn't stress the joint because I can't be weight bearing. It'd be easy if I could just get back to squatting, right? Even body weight would be great, but I can't. So it's trying to maximize what I can do with some of the sciencey shit. So what do the bands look like? These are not the same type of bands that would make her dance. These are bands. So you've got your cuff essentially, right? And so it's going to Velcro into itself. I've got 2 different sizes. I've got them for the arm and I've got them for my quad. And you cut it off as close to the central body. So it's gonna be up here around the shoulder or at the top of the, like at the hip, at the top of the leg. So it's essentially a blood pressure cuff. It's gonna Velcro onto itself, holds really tight, and it's got this little bit here that you get to take this fucking cool guy and squeeze into. And that way, you know how much pressure you're putting in the bands. So the plan here isn't just to cut off total circulation. What you want to be able to do is get circulation so the blood is coming in but not leaving. So think about where your major sources of blood flow are, like the inside of your leg for the femoral artery, also going to be under the arm, stuff like that. So what you can do is make sure that the cuff, the main part of it, the back side of it, is what I do is pressing on that area. And the way to check it is as you're exercising and things start to turn red and fill up with blood and swell up, as long as you can push on it with your hand, you're gonna start seeing it turn white, and then you wanna see it refill. So that's the capillary refill that shows blood still being able to move around. That's what you want. You don't just wanna cut it off and let it turn blue. So how exactly am I using this? There's 2 separate ways. You have one where you're going to lock off the non-affected areas. So I'm going to wear the band on my left leg and at both arms. And at this point, I'm gonna hammer away on those things in those sets of 30. Pick one muscle, fatigue it completely before you go to the others. Don't do it as a circuit. This is what I found to be kind of works best for me after using these for about the last 2 weeks. And I'm pretty happy. My PT is really happy with muscle strength and what I'm showing as far as contraction, my contraction strength in my right leg. So that's one way I can do it. I can do a single leg squat. I can do sit on the assault bike and hammer away in a sprint and hit all 3 at once. Single leg squat works really well. I can also do a hamstring curl with some bands and some other options like that that are gonna really fatigue the leg. Even some calf raises are pretty simple and will really fire things up. Arms are pretty easy. Overhead pressing, tricep push down, bicep curl. Stuff like that. And now working the other 3 is also going to help the bad one. That way you're going to get that response and the body is going to try to fix things that are a problem, and it's going to go into that knee. Now, I am not a doctor, nor do I know any of the scientific words, nor am I trying to be one, but I'm showing you what I've done and what I'm seeing works. The second way to use it is actually on the affected leg. And since I can't do squats and I can't do these other things, it's going to be simple workout. It's going to be, you know, leg raises and standing hamstring curl with just body weight. It's going to be simply maybe some more reps of it. That's going to take it to get fatigued and get filled with blood, but that's what you got to do to keep making that progress. For those interested post-injury or any other type of training, the Be Strong bands are my favorite. I've used voodoo floss to tie off before. I've used knee wraps. I've used these little cheap tourniquet style ones, and these are the most expensive route, but they are by far the best. This is one of those times that it seems to be a much more consistent approach than what I've done in the past using just the bands and other ways to tie it off. But in a pinch, those still work. So you don't have to spend a ton of cash to do it, but I do have these, and Be Strong was awesome and was trying to help me through my rehab, sent these to me, so I wanted to explain what I'm doing for those watching. There's a link below with a code if you want some. There's 15% off. So that is occlusion training for rehab and how I'm using it to get back. The knee is going to be a long road for me. The leg's going to be a long road, and this is about maintaining and holding on to as much as I can until I'm free. Once I'm allowed to start training, I'm gonna be fine. Like, it's gonna be easy for me to get back. It's gonna be easy for me to start lifting and hammering away on that leg when I'm pain-free and I'm not worried about furthering risk of injury or having a setback. But this currently is what I found to be my best bet for making progress post-surgery. Hope that helps. I hope that's pretty informative as far as blood flow stuff goes for you guys. Check it out, try it yourself. Before you spend some money in order, try using a stretch band, or try using voodoo floss or a knee wrap, and give it a go and see how you feel, see how it responds. One of the things they're showing with blood flow restriction and occlusion training in athletes as far as recovery is you can get hypertrophy work done and muscle stimulation and muscle growth using like a 10% of effort that you would need to versus having the barbell on your back. So if you have a 500-pound squat, 50 pounds would be a huge load for you to load up this way. So a body weight squat is gonna be very, very beneficial. This is less wear and tear on joints. It's just an easier way to make some progress while you're injured. This isn't something that I would continue to do in place of my heavy lifting once I'm healthy, but it's another option for recovery and getting things going. So I hope that helps. I hope that answers some questions. I hope you guys can use that in your own injuries and recovery. Just stay strong through the injury, man. Stay in the fight. You know, injuries suck, and they're part of the journey that's gonna come with lifting for a long time. And if you're gonna be a lifer, like most of us are, they're part of the game. You know, we're gonna all have to pay a cost for what we're doing. Love the work, and love doing what you can do, and stick with it. Spread hate, always party.